What is going on, everybody? It is the Apex Madden 22 Team Selection Show. We are coming to you live from the Apex studio, and we have some really special guests on the show with us tonight. So let's give it up first off for H. Will. He was the Madden 21 Chargers owner. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man?
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Excited, man? Your armpits sweaty and shit? You ready to find out who you're about to get?
Yeah, man. I just got out of work, gotten home in time for this.
Nice, man. I hope you enjoy the Texans. Oh, shit. Sorry, man. And no, I'm just kidding. But we also have Rev with us. He was our Dolphins owner towards the end of the cycle. How's it going, brother?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I've been looking forward to this all summer.
Awesome, man. Awesome. You've done some awesome videos, some hype videos to kind of count down to tonight. And then, lastly, we have 4Verts. The man himself, the analytic guru.
Hollywood, what's up?
What's up? So are you ready to give some analytics, kind of judge each team and tell us how they fit in the sliding scale that you have?
Yeah, I'm ready to piss some people off.
Oh,
that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we're here to do, piss people off. So, guys out there, if you can hear us, how do we sound? Is there any echo? Give me some feedback here, looking at the chat here. So we're going to start here very soon. We want to go over the team. We're going to start. What we're going to do is kind of talk about each division. We're going to actually announce by division like we did last year. And we have a couple teams out of each division we're going to talk about. And yeah, man, we're going to have a good time. So everything sounds good apparently on our end. So let's go ahead. Do you guys want to add anything before we start to reveal the teams?
Oh, it's 7 days to the trial, man. So it's close.
All right. Absolutely. So the first division that we are going to announce is the AFC East. That's right. You got the Patriots, the Tom Brady-less Patriots, and you got the Buffalo Bills. Very nice roster. They made it pretty far in the playoffs last year. You've got the Jets. Don't sleep on the Jets, as you might talk to 4Verts, and he may tell you that's a decent roster. And finally, you got the Dolphins. Dolphins had a plethora of picks, and I think that's a pretty good team for the cycle as well. So let's take a look here. So we're going to announce the first team, which is going to be the Patriots. And the Patriots are going to go to none other than H. Will 06, the man that's in here. What do you think of that?
I think it's great. I mean, that's my type of Madden team. Big offensive line, big run game, good D. That's it. I can't throw the ball for shit, so this is perfect.
And I believe that was your first selection. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Pats fan through and through. No Brady, no problem.
All right. What do you think about this?
First off, I think that was a setup to get H. Will in here, knowing that we'd announce him first. So that, nothing like having the first pick here on the stage with the commissioner. But anyways, I think teams are going to be surprised about this. But I got the Patriots at number 12 in my ranking. The number 2 overall offensive line in all of Madden, the number 1 coverage team in Madden. 13th, actually, in youth power index, right? So a lot of people think it's an old team. It's really not that old. They're on the top side in terms of age. So really solid team, 12th, the highest of any AFC East team.
That is kind of surprising. One thing that I think is
about the Bills.
One thing I think is kind of nice with this team is that they do have the quarterback of the future. Arguably, a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people do. I mean, I guess it depends on where you fall on that, but at least they have their quarterback of the future, and they made some really good moves this past offseason, getting 2 really good tight ends. Reb, do you want to add anything else?
Road power quarterback.
Now, what is his, 87 or something? Or
87 throw power. How do you feel about that?
That's tough. That is. I hate going below 90.
Hey, that's fine. I don't throw the ball. We good.
Throw Cam Newton in there, man. Throw some.
Oh, hey, yeah. No, that reminds me. Cam Newton's on the trade block already.
Oh, wow.
It's Mac time.
You heard it here first. Mac time. Wow. All right, so let's go with the Buffalo Bills. Some people may think that this is not much of a surprising person here to take them over, one of our OGs from the original league, and it is none other than B. Timmis, 27. You are getting your Bills for the third time since inception. I think you're the only Bills owner to take this team. Obviously, a big Bills fan himself. He lives in Canada, but he's been rooting them on for a long time. Verts, first off, what do you think about this roster? Some people think that this is one of the best teams on the game. How do you judge this team?
Yeah, so I actually lied. The Bills are the top-ranked team. Sorry, didn't want to give anybody a heart attack. Yeah, this team's awesome. 6 overall. Now, I will say they were 27th in cap before the Allen contract. My guess is that's going to drop them a little further back, probably closer to 30, 31. Let's put that aside for a second. When you look across there, they are 4th in adjusted quarterback ranking. They're 6th in weapons, 5th in offensive athleticism, 3rd in coverage. They are a stacked team coming in at number 6.
Yeah, anything you guys want to add to that, Rev or H. Will?
He broke records with them last year. He can do it again.
Yeah, well, I thought about giving the Lions so he couldn't cheese those fast receivers, but...
Oh, he'll draft them too. He's got a way to build that team up even more.
Now, does that worry you? You did pretty good against him, didn't you? I mean,
we've had a couple of decent games, but the rest I lose by like 35. Like, he's a cannon with Josh Allen. It's unreal to play against.
Yeah, he's not a lot of fun to go against. He actually spanked my rear end the last season in the playoffs. So. If maybe I might move to the NFC this year. I guess we're going to find out. So, Rev, anything you want to add before we go to the next selection?
I'm good, man. Let's see the rest of this division.
Man, he's excited, man. He just wants to see the next team here. Now, before we go into that, I want to look at their roster real quick. We have a cool little graphic here. And let's talk about it a little bit. Stephon Diggs, 97 overall. I think this year's Madden is not just going to be. You had talked about this first about the taller. Obviously, he's not a tall receiver, but the route runners, the receivers that are actually getting a lot of looks in real life, they're going to be more important in this. Do you like Stephon Diggs, or do you think he's going to be kind of like a Madden 21 receiver where not a lot of people utilize him the way they do in real life?
I think in general he's just better this year, right? So he's a stud, 97 overall. He's going to get separation, and if you play next gen, the better route running wide receivers do get better separation here in the new game. So I think that's going to be a huge asset for him. And then obviously Josh Allen with the cannon. So I would look for Timmy to still find some fast receivers, try to put the ball downfield with that. And yeah, maybe even some bigger receivers this year with the jump balls that we're probably going to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, you brought that up. And one thing I want to point out, they I guess could have one of the best secondaries out of the gate. As you can see from the top 5 on their roster, they have a cornerback, Tre'Davious White, who's an all-pro cornerback, and then they also have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, the 2 safeties in the backfield. So they've got a pretty decent they've got a pretty decent secondary to go along with that potent offense. So it will be fun to see. So anyway, we are going to move on to the New York Jets. That's right, the New York Jets. Arguably, this has caused a lot of controversy too. I've seen people say there's no way, I would never want to take the Jets. They're terrible. Then I see guys that are like, man, they got a nice young roster. They got some draft picks. They're going to be fun to have. They have some cap. So let's take a look who is going to be getting the New York Jets for the upcoming cycle. And it is none other than Alfred's son, Bano Jr., the Jets owner from last year. One thing I love about Bano is he was trying to rebuild this team, and he took his licks and he did not complain. He played the game the way it was supposed to be, and obviously that's his favorite team. So, Forverts, what do you think of the Jets? Where do they fall on your scale?
It's funny, J-Rod said Sonny here. No, not here, but I did have them in my top 5. Not because they came up there in my analytics. They weren't there in my analytics. I just really liked what they were doing. But let's talk about the analytics. They check in at number 16. They're 2nd in draft capital, 2nd in cap space, 8th in the youth power index, so a very young team, 10th in optimal rush rating. Now, we're going to get into some trouble. Obviously, the weapons are rated 32. coverage 29. So they've got some things they're going to need to work on, but you've got all the tools you need to rebuild that team very quickly.
Yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be a fun team too. I think I think Zach Wilson actually has the strongest arm out of the rookies this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Again, and you got Elijah Moore to throw to too. You get 92 speed.
Yeah, and then, they got their line shirt up too.
With.
So actually, I think that's a pretty good team there. So Bano, congrats that you are getting your New York Jets. So let's move along here. The Miami Dolphins. This is another team that I think is going to be under the radar. They had a pretty good. They had a bunch of draft picks last year. I don't believe they have a first in this next upcoming draft, but this will be a fun team regardless. So we will go ahead and take a look at who is going to be taking over for the Dolphins for the upcoming cycle. It is none other than young Nino for life, who's our chill pill. He was the Colts owner last year. So he will be taking over this Dolphins team. What do you think about this Dolphins team, Forverse? Where do they fall on your chart?
They're going to split the difference here between the Patriots and the Jets, checking in at 13 here on the rankings. They're number 1 in cap space available, 5th in draft capital, 5th in coverage, 7th in de-athleticism. The back end down there in Miami, very good situation. Now, here's your problem. They're 31st in offensive line. They don't have a whole lot going for them. 30th in offensive line. And they're also 30th in youth power index, right? That is an old team. You wouldn't think it, but that is also the old team of the league. So be careful there, but you've got some resources to rebuild that team. You're going to have to get on it quickly.
Yeah. Anybody else want to add anything about the Dolphins? What do you think about this division?
I think this division is going to be interesting. We got a lot of owners in here that like to make moves, improve their roster. Ferrero Jr. last year went out, got Stephon Diggs in the game. I think he's going to make a bunch of moves to load up. And, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Yeah,
I think so too. And you're right. There are a lot of guys that do like to take over, and do moves like you said. I know Timus actually traded away Stephon Diggs, excuse me, in the last Madden and ended up getting a guy with 98 speed or something. So it will be interesting to see what these owners do. So let's go back here. We are going to go to the next division here. Now, the next division we are going to talk about is going to be the AFC North. AFC North is going to be a fun division. They have some really good teams here, and they got some teams that are not so good. First off, they got the Cleveland Browns. In my opinion, I think it's one of the best teams that you can take over from this, just from the standpoint that they have a quarterback that's still on a rookie deal. They've got a plethora of receiving and weaponry, and their offensive line is relatively young and really good. And then their defense. You match Myles Garrett with Clowney, and then you've got the corners and everything. That's going to be a fun team. So and then we got the Steelers, who in my opinion, they could be one of those teams where the cap is a little high, and you get rid of Ben as soon as you can, and try to rebuild that team. And then you got the Ravens. You've got Lamar Jackson start out with. I had them last year, and I can tell you they were really fun team to use. And then you got the Cincinnati Bengals. Do not sleep on them. I think that's going to be a fun team as well, because you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and some other weapons there. And I know that John Ross, is kind of not the greatest guy there, but I think just because of the speed alone, you could really either shop him off and get, build up that defense, or keep him on your team and try to, utilize that speed. So what do you guys think about this division?
John Ross is a giant.
He is.
Just send John Ross to Buffalo.
That's a sore subject for me, a Bengals fan. But let's talk about the division. It's a division, I think, of the haves and have-nots. I think you have two awesome teams in the Browns and the Ravens, two teams set for the future, and then you got a team in the Steelers that's probably on the decline, with the Bengals still just basement dwellers. So there's some interesting things to look at here, and we'll get into that as the players get announced. But I have a feeling this one's going to have some competitive players in it.
I think so as well. We will. Anything you guys want to add before we go ahead and reveal the AFC North?
No, I think this division is also going to be very competitive. At least with 3 out of the 4, and then if you make a couple of roster moves, you can be competing with the Bengals too.
Absolutely, I agree with that. So let's take a look. The Browns. We are going to reveal the owner for the upcoming cycle, the Cleveland Browns, and it is none other than Al Ferreira Sr., our resident media guru. Al Sr. is taking over the Cleveland Browns. That was his first choice, and he gets second pick behind me. So the Browns was obviously on his radar, and obviously we had talked about that team and what they were able to accomplish in the offseason and just kind of building. Verts, what do you think about the Browns?
So the top score in my analytical ratings was a 90.3. Cleveland Browns are 90.3. Yes, the Cleveland Browns are the top rated team for Madden 22, and it's really not that close. In fact, Cleveland Browns, I have 11 data points in my analytics. They are top 10 in 8 of 11 data points. They are insane. Let's tell you what they don't do well first. 25th in cap, 24th in offensive athleticism, 18th in run D. That's it. Now, let me tell you what they do well. 8th in draft capital, 1st in youth power index, 8th in adjusted quarterback, 1st in weapons, 3rd in offensive line, 9th in optimal rush, 9th in coverage, 1st in defensive athleticism. They are an all-star team. They're going to be set. Now, the one thing you're going to have to watch with these guys, that cap can get scary quickly. So if you don't take care of that team, it's going to fall apart.
Now, you and I talked about this. I think one of the moves that we would probably both make is letting Baker Mayfield walk and probably trying to draft a quarterback and keep him on that rookie deal for the remainder of the cycle.
I mean, I don't know if I'm walking. I think I'm trading him. I'm going to find somebody who wants him. But I probably don't keep Baker around.
Yeah. What about you guys, Rev? If you were to take them, would you keep him around? What would you do?
I personally have never done great with him, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's in his mechanics or sense pressure, and I don't even know if that really matters as a using a quarterback. But I just never have done well with him. I would move him. They're just beastly on defense. And Al's got a good chance to really win a lot of games with him.
Yep, so that is your Cleveland Browns. Again, arguably the best team on the game, best team as far as Verts analytics here. So let's go to the Steelers. We are going to reveal the Steelers here. This is not really a big surprise just because of the only Steelers fan in our league, and that's Jay Cork. Jay Cork is taking his Pittsburgh Steelers. He had them number 1 on his list, and obviously nobody else had them that high. But Jay Cork takes over this fun team, and you know what? He's really excited about it. He's really excited about the running back that they just drafted. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a good piece. They do have good pieces around them. Verts, what do you think about the Steelers as a whole?
This is a team that fell off from last year, a team that I think my analytics had them in top 10 last year. They're checking in this year at 24. Now, really that comes down to 2 things. Adjusted quarterback rating, Big Ben checks in at 31. That's a problem. Right? 32 in offensive line. That was the top 5 offensive line last year. They're now the worst offensive line in the league. You're going to have to figure that out. Madden 22 pass rush is cranked back up. That's a problem offensively. But let's flip the side of that, right? So on the flip side, they have the number 1 pass rush in Madden 22. So they're going to be able to get home. They've got the number 3 run defense in Madden 22. They're going to be able to stop the run. The back end's got some questions at 22. But overall, the defense is going to be okay. I just keep looking back to that front side. But the good news there is they're 3rd in cap, right? So they're going to be able to rebuild, especially after Ben's gone. That first year in free agency, look for them to try to rebuild that offensive line. And maybe find another weapon or 2 on offense.
I think that what the big thing for them is that line. I think that's probably what I would focus on first. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you got some weapons on offense. I think they got some really good receivers. I like Chase Claypool, James Washington. I think a lot of those guys are good. But T.J. Watt, yeah, you've really got to I think you sure up him, get him re-signed, and then you just kind of build from there. So yeah, I mean, again, not on paper, they're not the sexiest team, but I do think that they can make some noise. So let's go to the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, again, this is another fun team that I used last year, and I'm telling you, man, having Hollywood Brown with that speed, having Lamar Jackson with his speed, running that kind of like a hybrid read option offense. When I had, before I traded Lamar, I was giving teams fits with him. So they got awesome uniforms. I think this is going to be a fun team to use. So we are going to unveil the owner of the Madden 22 team selection, and this is going to be Junior. Junior is one of our new members. That's all I know him by is as Junior, but he's going to be taking over the Baltimore Ravens. Where do you have him? I know that you're pretty high on them, Verts. What do you think about the Ravens?
Somebody's got to tell me who Junior is. I don't know who Junior is. Junior, please raise your hand. Identify yourself. Anyways,
he was in our MLB The Show league. He was he actually brought a couple people in, so he actually made it on the list. Actually, what's funny is that not a lot of people had the Ravens on their list, and he had them number 1. So.
I don't know why, right? Because they check in at number 7 here on my ratings. This is a team, they're actually way older than you would guess. They're 31st in youth power index. A little bit of a problem. They're going to have to figure out some of the age stuff. And people think, well, they got Lamar, they've got all these guys. But the problem is Calais Campbell's old. Some of the secondary guys are in their 30s. There's some problems that are going to have to get fixed quick. But other than that, let's talk about where they're good at. Second in adjusted quarterback, Lamar Jackson, the second best quarterback in Madden franchise going forward, right? 6th in offensive athleticism. They've got some burners out there. O-line's 9th. 4th in coverage. Their back end of their defense, very, very good, right? And overall, I think this team should be one of the best teams in Madden 22.
Now, even with Orlando Brown getting traded, you still like that line then, huh?
Yeah, that line's still really good. They got Kevin Zeitler over, right? They still have Ron Stanley? No.
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley.
Stanley's last name. Ronnie Stanley. There we go. Right, I knew I had it. And I'm pretty sure they still have a decent center. So they've got some options there. I think they signed Villanueva for right tackle. So overall, though, really solid line, top 10 line. I feel good about that line. Then obviously Lamar Jackson. He's just a tough guy to handle in Madden as it goes.
He is. I mean, having more speed than most receivers on the game and being able to, if Junior's able to utilize his team the way that they're meant to be used, I believe, I think he'll do really well in this division. So we are going to move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I feel like this is going to be a surprise. Now, everybody in the chat is probably thinking, man, 4 Verts is going Bengals. 4 Verts is going Bengals. Well, I thought he was going to Bengals until I got his form, and then I found out that he didn't want him. But it didn't matter because one of our staff members, Papa Smurf, that's right, Papa Smurf is actually taking over the Cincinnati Bengals for the cycle. This was a surprise for me because he actually had one of the highest picks just because he is a staff member, and he wanted to go with the Bengals. He said they would be a fun team to use. I know that they are your favorite team, Verts. I know that they're your hometown team. Stepping out of that fandom box, what do you think about the Bengals? Are they a team that you can really build off of, with having Joe Burrow and some of the other guys?
Yeah, surprise Pikachu face there. So Bengals check in at 27th, right? And people are going to go, wow, that seems a lot lower than I thought. This is why. So 8th in cap space, 11th in draft capital. So they've got some places they can go with. 4th in youth power index, very, very young team. Here's where it starts going downhill. People think Joe Burrow is this young, ascending quarterback. The problem is he's going to be 25 this season in Madden. So he's a little bit older than you'd like. So he checks in at 16. There it gets awful, right? So let's talk about how awful it gets. 29th in offensive athleticism, 27th in offensive line, 26th in optimal rush, 28th in run defense. That's a lot of oh no. They are seventh on the back end in coverage, so they've got that going for them. But really, what you're going to have to do is reinvest in the trenches with this team, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. I think you can do that. You can probably go trade for some guys that don't believe in offensive line here. I recommend you do that. Madden 22 offensive line will matter. So take care of the trenches. Take care of Joe Burrow.
I completely agree with you there. I think that is going to be a very important part for Smurf to rebuild this offensive line. Rev, what do you think about looking at the division from top to bottom? What do you think? I mean, what does this say to you?
That's an exciting division, man. That's wide open, and especially with having all the wild card teams we do now, everybody's got a shot at making it. That's going to be a fun one to watch, kind of see who rises up.
You know, and I think so too. I think that I think from top to bottom, I don't know how Junior plays or anything, but I think it's anyone's division. I really do. I think that anybody can win that division. The thing with Al is, man, like I know he struggled a little bit, but he is a hell of a runner. He can actually really run the ball well. And if he can get his defense to play well, I think he will have a team that will be in every single game as long as he's not giving up those early points. And then Jay Cork, he's been consistent. He can put points on the board. Again, Junior, I have no idea. And then Papa Smurf, Fertz and I played him, and he gave us both fits. I mean, he started to really, I can't remember what team he was, but. No, he was the Browns. So, last year I was starting to get that offense going. So I do think that this is a decent division. Probably not, people, it's not going to be on their radars like the best division, but I do think that they can make some waves. So good division here. So we will go into our next division, and that is going to be the AFC South. That's going to be the Texans, Jaguars, Colts, and Titans. Now, you may look at the Texans and be like,
this is going to be good. Who's going to get the Texans?
Well, you know what's funny? This is something where you and I disagree on. I think the Texans, if they do trade Watson, I think it's going to be a good. I think I would rather have whatever they're trading rather than Watson himself, because I don't feel like you're going to get the value on the video game for a quarterback like that, rather than in real life where there's going to be multiple first round picks. You don't think he's going to get that? I guess you don't think the value is as high just because of the stuff going on in his personal life.
I don't think he's going to end up getting as much as people think. I think you're looking at maybe a conditional first round pick and then a future conditional first round pick, which the way Madden tends to do those is they go on the low side, so they tend to give you seconds instead.
Yeah. And Rev, I know this is where your favorite team is. What do you think of this division? I mean, you follow the AFC South pretty closely.
And it's still pretty wide open. I think the Titans got a little temporary advantage, but we're a little bit older football team, just in my opinion. I'm interested to see what T4 says.
Yeah. H. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think this is I'd give the edge to the Titans, but I think it's pretty open, especially if you got a good owner for the Jags, like young, loaded roster, you can make some noise in there.
I think so too. I think so too.
The Colts ain't no slouch either. Sure.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the Texans. I know Forverts is just really looking to see who's going to take that team, and it is none other. It is none other than our new member. That's right, Mac West, 19. This is Rev's boy. He actually had the Texans on his list. So he actually wanted the Texans. Kind of surprising, but I think they were either 8th or 9th on his list. So maybe either he expected them,
he's going to regret in that one. He didn't. He just started throwing stuff on his list at that point. He's upset.
Titans wrong? Yeah. What? How'd that work?
I don't know.
He's a Green Bay fan, but I think he has some fascination with some. I know he likes Texas University.
That's right.
Boy, until he screws up. Then
he is a.
You're like, I don't know him. This guy.
That's hilarious. So, the Texans are going to be Mac West's team. Forverts, I know you don't have a very strong opinion of the Texans. I guess where do they lay out on your list?
My opinion on them doesn't really matter. Let's go to the analytics, and the analytics say they're actually 28. There's 4 teams worse than them, and really they're bolstered by having Deshaun Watson, right? Like having Deshaun Watson's kind of the only thing making him viable. Deshaun Watson's the third-rated quarterback here in Madden in terms of my adjusted quarterback ranking. Now, the other thing they do have going for them, and I will say this, their defensive athleticism. They're one of the more athletic teams in all of Madden. They're 6th in that. So they can run. They can't cover great. They're only 17th in coverage, but they can run on the back end. So you got that going for you. Their rush defense is 32nd. Their pass rush is 31st. Can't get to the quarterback. Can't stop the run. 29th in offensive weapons. Really, they're just really good at quarterback, and they can run on the back end.
Yeah, I think Watson, if they do end up keeping him and he's on the roster, I think that either, you're going to keep him and just kind of build around him, or you're going to, maybe you feel like the first or second season is going to be a wash and you just want to, collect the draft picks. We'll see how Mac West moves on this. But yeah, this is an interesting team. And it's also interesting that there's 4 teams worse than him. So, with that being said, let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars and who's going to be taking them over. And this is actually one of my favorite owners of the Apex Madden League. He came in last year from a now debunked league, and he has just been awesome, man. Just good attitude. He never complains. Just a good owner. And it is none other than N-Train56. Forverts, I know you actually know him pretty well. What do you think about this pairing?
I played with Train in another league long time ago. He actually went out on a lake in a boat with me once upon a time. So good stuff there. No, I think it's good. I think there's a lot to like here, but unfortunately the analytics don't like them nearly as much. The Jaguars actually checking in below the Texans at number 30, and people are going to go, wait, what are you talking about? Right? They have Trevor Lawrence. They should be great. Now, Trevor Lawrence is great. 7th in my adjusted quarterback rating. 9th in draft capital, 11th in cap. They've got that going on. Their offensive line is actually 12th, which is really, really good. Here's where the problems start. 31st in offensive athleticism, 28th in weapons. They've got some problems that they're going to have to figure out. 28th in pass rush, 29th in run D, 26th in coverage. The defense needs a lot of work. They have Josh Allen. They've got Miles Jack. After that, things get a little bit questionable. Henderson in the secondary is solid. He's fast for sure. But they've got a lot of work to do. Now, you can build them up, right? And anytime you have Trevor Lawrence, you feel pretty good about it. But there's a lot to maybe look side-eye at that team.
That's kind of surprising to me. I mean, obviously, your analytics makes sense. It's just, like having Trevor Lawrence, this generational type of quarterback. And in that defense, I think they're kind of soft at first, but I do feel like it's one of those defenses that you could kind of build up. All those the players that you mentioned, I believe, are all under 25. I know Henderson is a 1-year guy, and Josh Allen's pretty young too. And then they got Clausen, another pass rusher. I do think you're right though. They're going to have to make some moves and do some things. So, Rev, I know this is kind of your division. What do you think about the Jags?
I thought they would be a little more optimistic than that. I actually hadn't got to get over and look at his ratings very much. I thought they would be better than that, but really it's going to come down to, can you win games? And this,
Joey Bond, sorry, Rev, I just saw this in chat and I just thought it was funny. It says, wonder what Tim Tebow looks like on Madden for Jags. He's a 66 overall, 80 speed, 85 acceleration. So he's just a dude. Anyways, wondering what Tim Tebow looks like.
He's just a dude, might get cut, but he has 83 throw power.
I was gonna say, you maybe can run some like Taysom Hill Wildcat packages.
That's what I was thinking.
Last year. Yeah, like you could maybe go to that.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. That's funny. I didn't even think about Tebow.
N-Trade says he's starting, so we'll see how that goes. He still says tight end, you can't change his position, N-Trade, so suck it.
Yeah.
His close accuracy or short is 68, so maybe your play actions is 72.
That's hilarious.
Okay, let's let him play him at quarterback. We'll change that rule. Let's change that rule.
So, so N-Train, congratulations there. And then let's talk about the Colts. The Colts have I think that they got a pretty good roster. I think that their GM, God, I'm going to butcher this guy. I forget this guy's name. But I think he did a good job. What is it?
It's Ballard.
Ballard, that's it, Ballard. I think he's done a good job of building them up. They got a really good monster guard. I think they've done a pretty decent job in the draft. After years of just floundering around. So let's take a look at who's going to be taking them over. This is not a big surprise to a lot of people. It is Jiggy J-Rod, another guy that Forverts knows pretty well. Forverts, what do you think about the Colts? Where do they fit on your scale?
I feel like everybody knows J-Rod pretty well, right? He's won like 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
so at this
that's
point,
true.
I think he's pretty well known. But this is interesting, right? They're his favorite team, and I see J-Rod in the chat talking about the best player in the league. He's talking about a quarterback. He's talking about, a left guard. Sorry, Quentin Nelson is who J-Rod's talking about. Which, hey, that's cool, right? If you love a guard, you love a guard. We'll talk about what they do have going for them. They're 5th in cap space, right? So he's going to be able to go out in free agency and do some stuff. 3rd in youth power index, so they're a pretty young team that's solid. Their O-line is 6th, but unfortunately, they're the 26th ranked team in my analytics, and the reason being their adjusted quarterback is 30th. Carson Wentz is not good. I repeat, Carson Wentz is not good. Their draft capital is 26. They should be sending a 2nd to the Eagles here in Madden, so they won't have a 2nd next year. So you'll have to deal with that. Their offensive athleticism is 30th. They've got some things they've got to figure out on offense. Optimal rush 24th, and then 27th in defensive athleticism. So they've got some things they've got to figure out. Now, they do have some younger weapons that aren't bad, right? Like Paris Campbell. They've got, and J-Rod will correct me on it. I can't think of the guy's name. He's a little bit, Pascal, another wide receiver there. Very good. And they've got, some interesting stuff. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, the halfback's solid, but J-Rod doesn't throw, so you don't have to worry about that. So Darius Leonard on defense, he's nice. But they've got to find a pass rush besides DeForest Buckner. So J-Rod, I'm sure, will be fine with that team, but in general, that team's not that great.
Well, I was gonna say, like, having him on there, or having him as the owner, it seems to me like that team would kind of jump up that list. But I get you probably didn't make it based on Apex, so I get your analytics there. So. Rev, what do you think about this one? I know you're good buddies with J-Rod.
He's a pretty good GM, man. If he can get a good quarterback in, and he probably can do it with a bad one, he'll have to simplify his offense. He will be one of the top 2 teams in the AFC by the end of the year.
He said we're going to be running with Taylor. So yeah, he's going to be ground and pounding.
Yeah, he likes to run.
Yeah,
he's good at it. He developed it a little bit more this Madden than compared to last Madden.
Absolutely. So here we go. The Titans, the Tennessee Titans. Don't kill me on this one, Rev. Unfortunately, there was somebody else that has been here since the inception of Apex that I think that's his favorite team too, and it's none other than Maserati. Before we get to your analytics, Verts, I gotta ask Rev. I'm not trying to rub it in, but what do you think of this?
Dude, he's been here since the beginning. He's been here since the foundation. That's his squad. He's done a great job with them. He's always up towards the top. And honestly, it paints an opportunity for me somewhere else.
Yep.
I wanted that rivalry with J-Rod. We've never been able to see them match up in any league. But now I'm happy for him, man. Now that made the rest of the show really exciting for me.
Good.
Right, now he's ready to go. Like, let's go.
Okay, where am I at now?
So, Verts, I got a graphic on the screen of the Titans. Let's talk a little bit about them. What do you think about this team? And Rev actually kind of brought up a good point. They are a little older.
Yes, they are a lot older. In fact, the Tennessee Titans check in at 32nd. They are the oldest team in terms of relation to skill of any team in Madden this year. So that's a team that's aged out quite a lot. If you're looking for things to like about him, Ryan Tannehill does check in at 13th here, which is pretty good, right? A guy whose career you thought may have been over, but he figured it out. Weapons, they're 4th, right? So they have some of the best weapons here in Madden. On the offensive line, they're 11th. Pass rush is 11th. Run D is 11th. You're hearing this a lot. Defensive athleticism is, 11th. Yes, you guessed that. Now coverage is 30th. Yeah, they can't cover for crap, and Rev can tell you that one. So this is
they're
really
young.
solid.
They're super young.
Yeah, they're something. But this team is going to need some work. Obviously, they're going to have to get younger. Julio Jones obviously is a huge get for them. Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, like they've got the weapons right now, but I got to start thinking to find them for the future. Maserati's a great owner. I think this division probably right now, if I had to guess, is the best division in Apex. we'll see how that goes long term, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is going to be a very fun division. I think a lot of people are sleeping on some of these other guys, but they I guess they assume that J-Rod's going to win it all. But again, Maserati's a good owner, and I think taking this roster, I really like Caleb Farley. I know Rev's high on him too, man. I thought that dude was going to go high. I mean, obviously, if he wasn't hurt, he would have. But there are pieces on that.
6'2", 95 speed. Like, shoot, man.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, I agree. So, well, without further ado, we are going to the next division. We're going to try to move along on this, and that is going to be the AFC West. You've got the Denver Broncos. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs. You got the I was about to say Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders, and then you've got the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a very fun division. I know some of these teams, we won't spoil it yet, Verts, but I think some of these teams actually rate kind of high on your chart.
Yeah, so this is actually the best division in Madden. If you're just looking at my analytics and the teams, this is the best division in Madden. So we're going to see how competitive it is. But from a team standpoint, these are the best rated division cumulatively that you'll get.
Yeah. What do you think, H. Will?
Yeah, no, I believe that. Obviously, you have the Chiefs, but the Chargers on paper, every year they should be good. They never are in real life, but like Madden in paper, fantastic team. Broncos, you got some talent with a good user. And the Raiders, yeah, same thing. If you have a good user, good talent. So let's see it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's unveil the owner of the Broncos for the next cycle here. And yes, that is me. That's my name up there. I am taking them over. Screw you all. This wasn't a big shocker, I'm sure, but
It makes it a lot easier when you love who you're playing with.
Yeah,
sure, yeah, it does, man.
Yeah.
As I was actually bouncing around, I was so close to taking the Bears just because I was so mad that we passed on Fields, but I couldn't do it. I mean, I want to play with them for the next cycle. And Forverts, you've kind of talked to me about them, and DM, we kind of talked back and forth on them. What do you think? I know how you feel on it, but why don't you tell everybody what you think about the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, so he had already made his decision. I gave him this information, but the Denver Broncos checking in at a surprising fit overall in my analytics. So let's talk about the Denver Broncos and why that has come to be. So the Denver Broncos, 7th in cap space, 12th in draft capital, 28th in adjusted quarterback, right? So there's some issues there that you're going to have to figure out. 18th in weapons, and people are going to go, wait, I love their weapons. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, all these guys. Hold on, right? They're still young. They haven't developed. But in terms of athleticism, that offense, 4th overall. So very athletic offense, right, in terms of weapons. Offensive line, 19th. They need some work. Now, defensive side of the ball, this is where they're going to shine. 8th in pass rush, 4th in run D, 2nd in coverage. And don't be surprised if you see Alfred throw some of those cornerbacks on the block because he's got a bunch of them. He's 22nd in defensive athleticism, could use a little work there. But overall, this Broncos team is going to be a shocker to a lot of people. Very, very good team.
Rev, what do you think? I mean, obviously, it probably isn't a bigger shocker to you. Do you like the Broncos or?
I'm interested to see who you got in your division with you. I wonder how it shakes out.
Rev wants to know how you stack the deck for you.
Yeah, man, and I put a bunch of cupcakes in here, so.
You put a dead guy playing as the Chiefs, I'm sure.
Well, actually, let's go ahead and talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be taken over by none other than D-Real 32117. He was actually one of the OG members as well, and he was them last year, and this is his favorite team. So I'm letting him ride or die. Him and I had really good games last year. He did a really good job. I actually think we split. I think it was like 2-2 during the whole cycle. So he's actually one of those guys that loves to pass. He loves utilizing Hill. So, and now that Hill is, let's go ahead and talk about Hill. That team, man, that's going to be a very scary team. They've got, I believe, the most 99s on their team. Let's go ahead and take a look here. They've got 2 99s. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and then Tyreek Hill comes in a 98. This is a hell of a team, but what do you think about him, Verts?
This team's pretty solid, but let's not give them too much credit, right? The Broncos were an 87.0. The Chiefs are an 87.1. So just slightly edging out your own Denver Broncos. Looking at the Chiefs, right, the Youth Power Index puts them at number 7 adjusted quarterback rating. Patrick Mahomes, the number 1 quarterback in Madden. Number 2 in weapons, number 1 in offensive athleticism. Now, where do they falter? Defensive athleticism is 31st. Run defense 23, optimal rush 15, and coverage 14. So the defense got some work to do, but that offense is going to be very tough to stop.
Yeah, I believe so. Anybody, Rev, H. Will, what you guys want to chime in on this? What do you guys think?
Yeah, the couple abilities. Yep. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
Yeah,
that's all I want to say.
The couple of times I played D-Real, man, Forverse doesn't like that defense analytically. But him and Chris Jones, man, monster.
He actually, you're right. He actually uses Chris Jones.
He uses them.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so that's going to be.
You reminded him. Good job. You just told him how to beat him. Good job.
I had actually forgot about that.
You're gonna hate yourself for that.
What's that?
You're gonna hate yourself for that.
It was going to happen.
That user DL is going to be rough.
He's actually good. Yeah, like I said, he actually made the playoffs, I think, the last 2 seasons. So he's a pretty good owner. So let's talk about these Raiders. The Raiders just win, baby. Who's taking them over? Well, it is none other than Slam Fist. Slam Fist had them pretty high on his list. I think they're kind of a sleeper. I know a lot of people hate them. They don't think they're a great team. What does your analytics say about him, Verts? Where do they fall on your list?
So this is actually the worst team in the division, right? So we'll just go ahead and call a spade, or in this case, a Las Vegas Raider. They're the 25th rated team here in my analytics. Now, there's some things they do very, very well. So we'll just look at that. 9th in cap, 10th in capital, 9th in youth power index, 9th in weapons, and 8th in offensive athleticism, right? So on the offensive side of the ball, I'm not doing too bad. Ours manageable at 19th in the adjusted quarterback rating. Now, where things go awry for them, 22nd in offensive line, 31st in defensive pass rush, 30 in run D, and 32nd defensive athleticism. There's a lot of issues you're going to figure out defensively on this team, but nonetheless, offensively, you got Darren Waller, you got Henry Ruggs, you got some different things, Josh Jacobs, right? You've got a lot of things to like about the offense, but after that, defense needs some work.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think the biggest issue is their defense, and I think that they're not really great in any area. I think Waller's their best player, and unfortunately, there's going to be some rebuilding to that, and it's not going to be easy. But Slam Fist is a good owner. I think he's going to be able to do it. I believe we played in the Next Gen League, and he's pretty good. So I'm happy to have him in my league or in my division. The last person we're going to talk about, and then we're going to move to the NFC. Is Bondage, or I'm sorry, I just gave that up. It is Bondage. He is taking over the Chargers. I was like looking his name on here, and I'm like, oh yeah. So he's taking them over. He was the Bengals in the last cycle. This was his 3rd team. He actually put down the Bengals as his number 1 team, and he would have had him if Smurf didn't scoop him up. So Bondage is taking over this LA Chargers team. I know that you used Herbert last cycle for Verts. What do you think, or what does the analytics say about this team?
It thinks the commissioner stacked his league for himself. But anyways, but beyond that, just kidding. Maybe. Chargers checking in at number 9. They're a very solid team, 4th in cap, right? So this is a team that's got a lot going for them, but they also have the money to keep improving them. They've also got some re-signs they're going to have to take care of here very soon. Draft capital at 13. Adjusted quarterback, Justin Herbert, number 9 in my rankings. Weapons, 11th. Now, the offensive athleticism has to get some work done, 25th. Mike Williams, not the fastest guy in the world, neither is Keenan Allen. So they've got some things they've got to figure out there. Now, you flip sides, optimal pass rush, 15th. You've got Joey Bosa. Then there's a lot of questions about what else is there. Linebackers, Kenneth Murray's not bad, but the run D is 22nd, coverage 23rd. But on the back end, you do have Derwin James in that 2nd overall defensive athleticism.
Yeah, that's if you want to go ahead, step away. I know you had something to do real quick, guys. Let's talk about this. Rev, what do you think about this division? Did I stack the deck for myself?
Nah, you're good, man. That's a good division. It should be competitive. I think the Chiefs maybe are the favorites coming out the gate, but we'll be surprised to see what the other three teams do.
Yeah. What about you, H. Will? Did I stack the deck? Did I do everyone wrong by doing this, or do I have some competition in this division?
No. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty competitive. Like everybody else in that division. I know you're more of a defensive-minded guy, but I see a lot of barn burners coming.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. One of the things that we had talked about with the athleticism is that speed. I mean, the Chiefs have obviously Tyreek Hill, Hardman. Those are two guys that have not played. I think Hill's got 99 speed. Hardman's got 97. Those two always gave me fits when I played D-Real. And then sure. Then the Raiders. I know he's not really high, but I mean Ruggs, that guy is a burner as well. And if Slamfist knows how to use them, because last year Jim Jones had Ruggs, and I'm telling you, he would take the top off of that defense if you utilize him correctly. I think that can be a sleeper team. And Bondage, I know people give him crap, but man, that dude, he would take me and Verts both to the limit in games and stuff. Actually, I believe he took one or two from me last season. So do not sleep on any of these guys. I do think that it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun division here. So heavy sell. What's that?
I said heavy sell, just trying to get people to believe the division wasn't stacked. It's okay.
No, this is the first time I've seen Bondage as any team other than the Bengals, but he did some work with them. So now he has a good on paper team. I think he
two
makes
from me.
Noise.
I can't even lie. He stole two from me last year.
Yeah. That's what I say. He took two from me, I believe, as well. So, did you need to go, Verse, or are you back?
I'm back, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the NFC East. I think this is going to turn some heads. This is there's going to be some surprises here. I really think you guys are going to like this. Let's talk about the Giants. The Giants, I think, have a decent roster, and wait till you see the owner that's going to take them over. This would scare me from the division. It is none other than five-star hustler. He was joking that he was going to take one of these terrible teams. What's surprising is no one put the Giants on their list or high enough. So he was able to snag the New York Giants, and I believe that's a good team, and I also believe that your analytics think they're pretty decent as well. Is that right?
I do, but hold on a second. You're telling me he didn't put the Giants?
He did not put the Giants.
I thought it would be the Giants.
I know.
Anyways, we'll go to the Giants here. Giants 14th, right? I think a lot of people would be a little bit lower on them. The Giants checking in at 14th here. Let's talk about what they don't do here. 26th in cap space. That's a little bit of a problem, right? But 4th in draft capital. They made some moves last year in the draft to get some more picks. They're a good situation. They're 5th in youth power index. Only 24th in adjusted quarterback. Daniel Jones, not a great fit, but we'll see if anybody can do something with them there. Weapons 7th. Really good weapons there. You got Kenny Galladay, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, right? Really good there. 2nd in offensive athleticism. That is a great offensive unit. Let's talk about the offensive line. 31st offensive line. I'm telling you right now, offensive line will matter this year. So that's going to be a bigger problem than people think it is. 24th in optimal rush. 25th in run D. 8th in coverage. James Bradbury actually a shutdown corner here in Madden. And then 25th in defensive athleticism. So I think the Giants probably turned some heads. They're a little bit better than people thought they'd be.
Yeah. Rev, what do you think? What do you think of the Giants? What do you think of the NFC East? Obviously, you're going to be in the NFC. We don't know where you're going to go yet, but what do you think so far?
That's kind of exciting. The Eagles might pull in Watson. I think they were the only team this far that I put on my top 15. I would have liked Washington football team. Definitely would have liked to run with Barkley, but Hustler will have a good time there.
Yeah. H. Will, what about you?
Yeah, especially with the user. I think Hustler can make any team lethal, and I think I got a feeling on who the Cowboys is going to be, but not saying it. But it'll be interesting division.
We will find out here in a second here. So the next team is the Washington football team, and there's not. I don't want to put any suspense here. This is not a big shocker either. It is your Bless, another OG member. Again, one of my favorite members. This guy. The funny thing about this guy is he had the Chiefs a couple years ago, but I believe he had the Washington football team last season, and he traded for Lamar. This dude slings it all over the field, but this is not the strength of the Washington football team, is it, Forverts?
Well, this year it could be. So let's talk about that, right? Like, you've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's not a good situation. 25th and just quarterback. Just go get a quarterback, and you're feeling pretty good about this team, right? So 7th in weapons, right? You got Samuel, you've got McLaurin, you've got Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas. Like, there's a lot to like actually on this offense. 9th in offensive athleticism. Now the offensive line, they've got some issues, 28th there, but really why you're getting this team is Ford's defense, right? This defense is just shut down. I love this defense. I think I had them at number 2. I think I had the Washington football team as my second choice for team because I just love this defense. 6th in optimal rush, 10th in run defense, 12th in coverage, 3rd in defensive athleticism. And oh, by the way, they've got 3 defensive tackles above 85 overall. So they're probably going to be looking to trade one. This defense is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, we have them on the screen right now, and their top 5 players. Surprisingly, is Terry McLaurin and Kendall Fuller at an 89, but a lot of these teams have a couple high 90s, but then they kind of drop off. The Washington football team, they're pretty consistent, with a lot of their players in the high 80s from what I saw. So you're absolutely right about that line. That line is going to be something to watch, especially now that they tweaked the pass rushing up. So these teams with the crappy lines are going to have to watch out for that. Anything that you want to add on top of this, H. Will? What do you think about the Washington football team?
Yeah, you're blessed. He made him work last year, and I was in another league with him. Dude can work a team. He makes anything work, and especially with this defense, look out. You got some trouble.
I think so, too. I think this is going to be a fun division. So that brings us to the Cowboys, and we had some guesses out there. Everybody thinks it's going to be Joe. Now, we'll tell you in the staff chat, we were kind of divvying teams. There were a couple teams that Joe wanted that weren't the Cowboys. Let's see if he is going to be taking them over. It's going to be someone else. Nope, it's going to be him. None other than Joe. Joe did flirt. Now, I got to say, Joe did flirt with the idea of a couple other teams.
Saints? With the Saints, right?
I don't believe it was the Saints. I believe it was the Falcons and maybe someone else. Maybe Joe's in the chat, so maybe he can tell us. But at the end of the day, there was no way that Joe was going to not take his Cowboys. I think he is excited. Him and 5-star really good buddies. And this, let's be honest, man. This Cowboys team on paper every year. I mean, not what they do in real life, but on paper, this team is pretty beastie. What does your analytics say? Does it mirror that, or are they a team that you want to stay clear of?
So the Cowboys, I think, are going to surprise some people, right? Because like you said, everybody always assumes they're super, super overrated. The Cowboys check in at 15th, right? They're dead even. They're in the middle. 30th in cap situation. They've got some problems there. I think it won't be as bad as people think, though, just because Madden's going to do some finagling with the cap. 6th in adjusted quarterback, Dak Prescott, a great quarterback here in Madden, got a lot of love. 11th in weapons. I like their weapons a lot. Gallup and Cooper and Lamb, they've got some things going on there. Zeke as well. 1st in offensive line, that's a huge, huge asset this year for him. So I expect that to be a big part of Joe's success. Now, where they've got some struggles, right? 27th in optimal rush, 32nd, the worst coverage unit in the league. They're going to need to do some stuff on the defensive side of the ball, but what they have on the offense should allow them to win a lot of games.
I agree. And before you trash them, Rev, remember, Joe holds the Cowboys dear to his heart, and he will fight tooth and nail for his team. With all kidding aside, what do you think about this? Did this surprise you at all, or did you kind of know that Joe was going with the Cowboys?
Oh, man, I think everybody saw that one coming. The people who really love the Cowboys really love the Cowboys. So happy for you, Joe. Congrats, man.
Yep, I agree, man. Joe knows that, this is, he has a high pick every year and he wants to go with his team. I respect that. Look, I've said it from the beginning. Well, a lot of things that weight the decision is, who's your favorite team and are they number one on your list? I try to put people with their favorite teams if that's who they want, just because I know that you treat that roster different than some, random guy taking over and just wanting to just, decimate everything. I can tell you for personally, I'm sure a lot of people would trade Von Miller that first year, but Von Miller is my favorite player. I have his jersey framed, but sitting behind me right now. So it's going to be hard for me to be able to trade him just because of my love for him and on the team. So we try to pair guys.
You're totally going to trade him for the right price.
Well, I still might. I mean, you never know. So, but yeah.
I think that was a bad time to bring that up, the way he decimates the Cowboys every year. He already put Zeke on the trade block, and we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, that is true. He loves trading Zeke away. Maybe because he went to Ohio State. I know his disdain for Ohio State runs deep, so maybe that's why. So let's look at the chat real quick. I want to look at that, but then we'll go to the last team here. Joe says buy Zeke. Yeah, you called that. And then it's saying this division's looking tough. It absolutely is. And Flair says Von Miller is the devil. Now, Flair, remember, I'm getting you in the league, but I can easily pull somebody from this wait list. You better watch it, buddy. All right, let's go with the last team. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. And Coherent, our staff member, took the Eagles. It was very funny.
Ooh.
Now, what
That's
is
different?
This is, I have to say this real quick. It was very interesting when we were talking in staff chat. He initially was wanting to take over the Dolphins because of the picks that they had. And then I had to point out to him, you don't have those picks. He thought he had 3 first-round picks or 2 first-round picks. And I go, no, they traded them away. That was last year.
No, you do. He does. He has the 5th most picks in the draft. So you pulled a fast one on old Coherent, but that's good. Good for you.
Well, no, you mean the Dolphins?
The Dolphins are 5th in draft capital. Entire league. Yeah. Because remember what they did was they swapped, right? They moved back with the 49ers and then sent that pick back to the Eagles. So they still kept their pick, but also got some extra seconds. So
I swear I was looking on a website that said they had. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
they pulled a fast one on you, Coherent.
All right. Well, I pulled a fast one on him. But what do you think about this Eagles team? Obviously, they are in a market for a quarterback. They've got some older pieces. But what are your numbers tell us about this team?
It's okay, Coherent. He actually did you a favor because those are a better team than the Dolphins. In fact, they're the 11th rated team here on my rankings, 3rd in draft capital. So they actually have more draft capital than the Dolphins at 5. So they did you a good favor there. Now, what I will tell you is the problem here. 27th in youth power index. They're an older team, 26 adjusted quarterback rating. Now, maybe you like Jalen Hurts. Maybe you can make that work. But from just a neutral standpoint, that's a little bit of a problem. 29th in weapons, right? But also, you have some good things, though, right? The 29th in weapons is okay because you have 11th in offensive athleticism. So you have some speed going for you. Offensive line 4th, more rush 3rd. So your trenches are set for you, right? And then 5th in defensive athleticism. Looking at this division right now, I'm just going to say it. This is the best division from a user standpoint.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just crazy that all 4 of these guys went to the playoffs last year. I mean, with using different teams. So it's going to be. I don't think that every year it's going to be. Now it could be 5-star. He's a hell of a user. But I think that you're going to see your Bless in there. You're going to see Joe in the mix and Coherent. I 100% agree with you. This could be the best user division in Apex. So let's go ahead and go to the next division here. And it is going to be the NFC North. And this is going to be a fun division as well. You got the Packers. And the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, they did not trade him. You got the Vikings, you've got the Bears, and you've got the Lions. Obviously there's some better teams in there than others, but let's take a look at who we think. Well, I mean, let's go ahead and talk about who is going to be taking over the Packers. The Packers owner for the Madden 22 cycle is going to be none other than Jim Jones. That's right. He actually runs Leather Helmets League as well, but he was our Raiders user last year. We were talking about him a little bit ago. He is going to be taking over this Packers team. What do you think about Jim Jones? Jim Jones, what do you think about the Packers analytics?
I was like, I mean, yeah. God saw him last year at the Raiders. Yeah, great to meet him. So the Packers were another team I actually liked a lot. I think I had them in my top 5 on my list. But in terms of analytics, I got them here at 10. Cap situation is the worst in the league. They've got massive issues there, 32nd in cap. I will say, from the math I've done in my head and what I've seen, Devonta Adams, the Aaron Rodgers, you may have to trade Aaron Rodgers year 1. I'm just saying there's some problems there. So the cap is going to be a big deal for them to deal with. But let's put the cap aside for a second. 5th in weapons, right? Devonta Adams is great. Aaron Jones is great. Robert Tonyan's pretty solid. And then you got a lot of good, solid number 2 wide receivers there. The back end coverage 6th in that, defensive athleticism 4th. They've got a pretty solid rush. Optimal rush is 12th, right? So what you're going to have to figure out here is how are you going to keep this team together? That's really where the math's going to come in. Hopefully Jim can do this. Because if not, this team could turn into a nightmare very, very quickly.
Now, Rev, if you were, I know that you've actually taken the Green Bay Packers in other leagues. If you were to take them over, what is your first, hearing Verts talk about how you may have to make some moves to keep them together. What are some big moves that you would make year 1?
I don't know, man. That's so tough. And the way the contracts have changed has made it even tougher. I think you're probably going to have to get rid of one of your pass rushers. But I don't know how you do it, but you got to make sure they all stay together that first year because you can go win a Super Bowl with that team. Anytime I've ever had Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones together, like I've had one of the best offenses in the league. And I'm not one of the best offensive players around. They are fun, man. You got a good one there.
Yeah, I think that, if it was me, I've actually had the Packers in the past. I always like to trade Aaron Rodgers, and nothing against him. It's just more or less like, now we, can also keep in mind abilities are going to be on this year. Aaron Rodgers is going to have some really awesome abilities. So good. I'm sure the Jim Jones may think twice about trading him. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting team to watch. Those first couple years, if he's going to have to kind of blow it up or if he can keep them together. But if anybody can do it, it's definitely Jim Jones. He knows how to run a team. He's been doing this for a while. So let's take a look at the Vikings. The Vikings are the next team on the list here. And with no, let's not go ahead and wait here. It is X Facto 12. You are taking over the Minnesota Vikings. I believe that they were pretty high on his list. The Minnesota Vikings aren't the sexiest team in the world. They do have one of the best running backs. They have a decent defense. What do your numbers say about them, Verts?
Vikings 22nd on my list. Now, I actually had some people this morning asking me about the Vikings, and what I told them was 7th in weapons, 9th in offensive athleticism. Right. That's the key to this team. You've got, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Irv Smith, Dalvin Cook. Like, you've got a lot of really nice weapons. You got the rookie, actually. There's a rookie running back there with like 96 or 97 speed. Just insane. So weapons are great. Offensively, everything else is horrible, right? Quarterback Kirk Cousins, 25th. The offensive line, 28th. Like, that's not great. But on the other side, you got a pretty average defense, 17th in optimal rush. Danielle Hunter, pretty solid there. 7th in run defense, 20th in coverage, 18th in D athleticism. Now, I'm not sure how this, they just cut Jeff Gladney, so I'm not sure how that may change some of these things. But overall, this Vikings team, they're a little bit older than I'd like. If you can figure out what to do with your quarterback situation, I know a lot of people will say Kellen Mond. I'm not sold that he's the answer there, but we'll see what can happen here. There's some weapons there, though, and I think weapons make this an interesting team.
I agree. I think that they are a team that you do have to make some moves on, and losing Jeff Gladney, that young, nice cornerback out of TCU, that's not going to be an easy spot to fill. They may have to make some moves in the offseason, so it'll be interesting. let's go ahead and go with the Bears. The Bears are a very controversial team here. Some people think that, and I'll be honest with you, man, this surprised me a lot. I didn't think the Bears were sexy, but I got a bunch of lists over that had, people putting the Bears in their top 5, which was kind of surprising to me. But without further ado, it is Heavy. That's right, Heavy is going to be taking over the Chicago Bears and this Justin Field-led team. I know you're not super high on them. Well, the numbers don't support that. Give us the numbers. Where do they rank with you?
First, tell me, who is Heavy?
Heavy was the Patriots last year.
Okay, the last Super Bowl versus J-Lo.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure that out.
Yeah, okay. He's a good user.
I just think of him as Patriots guy, but we're good. Great. Anyway, so let's talk about this, right? People are not going to like this. The Bears I have at 29th in my rankings. And before you tar and feather me, let's talk about this. 30th in draft capital, right? They traded a lot away for Justin Fields, and so that cannot be underscored enough. 29th in youth power index. They're an old team. People don't understand that, like Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks and some of these guys are starting to get up there in age. So 29th in youth power index is a concern. 15th in quarterback rating, right? Justin Fields has a lot of upside. 26th in weapons. People go, oh, wait, Allen Robinson. I love Allen Robinson, right? Allen Robinson is a very solid wide receiver, right? Darnell Mooney, he's a good option there as well. But their weapons have some issues. 26th in offensive athleticism, 25th on offensive line. But let's talk about what they do really, really well. 4th optimal rush, 2nd run D. That front 7 is locked in for at least a year or two. The back end, though, 19th in coverage, 29th in defensive athleticism. This Bears team is going to age out quick. And that's the big thing I would say is figure out what to do with this age of this team. You may have to move some pieces. I could see Khalil Mack, right? Whoa, I know, crazy. I could see Khalil Mack being moved just to try to get a little bit younger on this team.
I could see that as well. And H-Will, you actually know Heavy really well. You were in his division last cycle. What do you think that Heavy is going to move some of these older pieces to get younger? With your experience, what do you think? What do you think about this?
It wouldn't shock me if he moved them, but I could also see him making a legit run at the Super Bowl this year because he made the Pats work last year, and I would call that one of the worst analytical teams last year, and he made Cam Newton work. He can do it with whatever. Like I
Tyree, right? Didn't he have Tyree Jackson too?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly, he did.
And he was good with him.
Yeah. Like I don't know if he moves off the pieces. He may, and he still may make that work. But I think he's gonna do well with the Bears.
Yeah, so
that's
far,
a great matchup for him.
Yeah, this division's pretty good, and it's only going to get better because WSU Cougs is taking over the Detroit Lions. He had them on his list. This is a team, again, I am very surprised. I think with the youth, them collecting the picks from the Rams, this, in my opinion, was going to be a high team, but hardly anybody put them on their list. Cougs was one of them. What do you think? What do your analytics say about the Detroit Lions?
They're first in draft capital. That's where it ends. They're the worst team in Madden. And let me just go ahead and say, like, they're the worst team in Madden, and it's not even that close.
Wow.
They're 0.4 lower than the next lowest team, and that team is almost 2 points lower than the team above them. So, like, they're in a tier with the 31st team, but they're pretty awful. 31st in weapons, 28th in offensive athleticism, 31st in coverage, 30th in defensive athleticism. I mean, Cougs is a great user, don't get me wrong, but this team has some serious issues to deal with.
Yeah, Rev. What do you think about the Lions? Is it something that you is it a team that you would ever think, I wouldn't mind taking them over, or are they a team that basically you try to stay away from as well?
They're like pick 32 for me. I mean, I hate to say that, but looking at them online, I just don't like them. I hate it. I hate it for that organization because they've had good players, but maybe he can do something different with them. When you want that team, that matters. And, that's going to bring his engagement. Maybe he can flip it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have him super high on his list, but honestly, he was one of the only people that had them on the list. A lot of other people just didn't even. I think there was a couple other people, but they were higher selections. So, I mean, here's what I'll finish with. Do I think they're the sexiest team? No, but I really like Jeff Okudah. I really like some of the pieces they have on defense, and I think that you could probably use golf for a season or two and just draft use that draft capital. As far as are they good now, and I don't think so, but having the best draft capital, in my opinion, that's just the way I like to build a team. I like to build my team through the first 3 seasons of the draft and have my team ready for the rest of the cycle, and hopefully that's what Coop
2
does.
first rounders, and it's good.
Yeah, he's going to have some
you got another
picks.
third.
Yeah. So we are going to move on to the NFC West. Now, this is going to be very interesting. You guys are going to be kind of surprised with a couple of these picks here. So let's go ahead and talk about them. The San Francisco 49ers. This is a team that a lot of people had on their list. This is a team that a lot of people wanted to take over. A couple of them said that they were their favorite teams. A couple of them said, I just want the 49ers. The Seahawks and the Rams and the Cardinals, I think that, on paper, I think these are the 4 best teams, or at least the division, from top to bottom. I don't know what you guys think, but...
Yeah, I mean, I've had 3 of the 4 on pretty high on my list, so I'm hoping I'm one of these. We're still on.
We're end up here. Let's go.
Yeah. Well,
All right,
Red Watch. Where am I going?
All right, this is going to shock people right here. Player Yan. That's right. Yan is taking over the San Francisco 49ers, and that has got to really burn 5-star in the ass. Now, Yan was his number 1 pick. He put them number 1. He didn't put the Bills. He probably figured, I'm not going to get the Bills. I'm not even putting them on there. So this is the number 1 team on his list. He said
so it was gamesmanship is what you're saying. He knew how to play the game.
You got to. Here's the thing. I tell people all the time. If you put a bunch, if you haven't been with the league long and you put a bunch of the popular teams on there, you're probably going to be getting the last. Everybody got at least 1 team on their list. But you have to be smart with how you do this. And he put him number 1. So, yeah, I mean, that's. And what does your analytics say about the 49ers? Do they like them? Do they not like them? What's going on here?
It says they're the 3rd overall team for Madden 22. That's what it says. The only places this team is in trouble, right? 32nd in draft capital. They gave up a lot to get Trey Lance, right? That's the big thing. They gave up a lot to get Trey Lance. 24th in cap. After that, though, they're pretty much set. 11th in adjusted quarterback. Trey Lance is the quarterback of the future there. 13th in weapon. 3rd in offensive athleticism. O-line 7th. Optimal rush 7th. Run D 5th. Coverage 10th. Defensive athleticism 8th. They are set. This is an amazing team. It's a team that anybody should be happy to have. And especially if you don't like drafting, don't worry. They don't have picks to worry about. So, you can just take that whole night off if you don't want to be around for the draft.
No, that's right. And I think one thing to look at, Yan is a runner. He loves to run the ball. And I believe that they have a really good running offensive line. And then they got Moser, probably the fastest running back on the game. So that's going to be interesting. Rev, what do you think about Yan going to the 49ers?
They were high on my list. George Kittle, man. A lot of people don't love tight ends, but, man, he's going to be the man this Madden. They're loaded, so. Yeah,
they're loaded. They're pretty much loaded for the cycle. So let's go ahead and talk about the Seahawks. This is another no-brainer. When you got Seahawks in your name, you're likely going to get them. So Seahawks 3726. He is going back to Seattle. He actually lives in Seattle, and he is going to be getting the Seattle Seahawks. So that is going to be the Seahawks team for the Madden 22 cycle. What do you like about Seahawks? What don't you like about the Seahawks?
Well, I've got the Seahawks at 18th. right? So they're a little bit further down than a lot of people think. Surprisingly, cap 6, then things get a little worse. So 29th in draft capital. They gave a lot of picks away for Jamal Adams. That's okay. He's a great player. 5th in adjusted quarterback, let Russ cook, right? We all know that. 10th in weapons, DK Metcalf, Lockett, great wide receiver combo there. Chris Carson, also good running back for him. Now, in things that concern you, optimal rush, 29th, they don't have a pass rush, but what they do have is 6 run D, 13th in coverage. Bobby Wagner and crew, pretty good there. So it'll be a solid defense. They've got some good weapons, good quarterback there. Not a lot to build the team from in terms of draft capital, but they do have some cap to deal with. So one thing I would look for, though, is Dwayne Brown wants a new contract. Jamal Adams wants a new contract. That cap, that 6 overall cap, could degrade very quickly if those contracts get in before Madden.
Yeah, I agree. H. Will, what do you think? I mean, is this a team that you had on your radar, or is this a team that you stayed away from?
I stayed away from them because, if the team name is in your gamer tag, like, obviously that's who it's going to. But
you kind of knew.
The way he made that team work last series, I think he dropped Carson, got a guy in the 7th round, and made that work. Turned him into like a 96 or something. Like, no matter what Forverse analytics say, like, he knows how to use his team, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Let's not get carried away with just criticizing my analytics.
Hey, no. Okay.
He's like,
that's
fuck
all
your
I'm saying.
analytics.
If you know
just
the
coming
team,
at me all
know how to use them.
No, that I agree with that. But he's a really good user anyway. So he's, again, I mean, the analytics are nice when you're choosing your team, but he's had the Seahawks enough to know how to, know their cap situation, know their roster, know how to, make the moves. So let's go on to the Rams. That's right, the Los Angeles Rams, and it is none other than Boomer XX. He is I think he's been around for most of the cycle, or most of the inception of Apex. But what do you think about the Rams? I know that they're a little bit older roster. They don't have a lot of draft picks. What do your analytics say about this team?
So I think the Rams are going to be a surprise to people, right? They come in at 21st on my rankings, 29th in cap, 31st in draft capital. The problem with the Rams is the team you have right now is basically the team you're going to have for a year or two, because they don't have a lot of flexibility to move. So you have to love the team you have. Now, in terms of that, you've got Matthew Stafford there, but he checks in at 20th in my adjusted quarterback rankings because he is a little bit older, but he's an 83 overall. He'll get you through for a while. Weapons wise, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Robert Woods, you've got some there that can carry you, right? They're not elite, but they're good enough. Now, on defense, you're thinking, oh man, I've got Aaron Donald. This pass rush is amazing. Of Aaron Donald and then a bunch of dudes. 22nd in optimal pass rush. Aaron Donald may be all the pass rush you need, right? That's a great pass rush to have, but just keep in mind, not a great pass rush beyond him. The run D's checking in at 8th. Now the coverage though, 11th, right? Jalen Ramsey, very, very good. They've got some other guys there that are not bad. So you've got the foundation for a great team. And if you had the draft picks or you had the capital, this would probably be a top 10 team, but you don't. So if you don't love what you have right now, there's not going to be much change from it. But if you love what you have right now, this is a great team.
Now, Rev, if you're kind of going off of what Vert said, is that, if you have some of these stars and maybe they're getting up in age, like an Aaron Donald, do you try to trade him off for some draft capital?
I'm a little hesitant to get rid of him. I definitely want to see what the game, like how it plays. Just kind of based off what T4's saying, if the pass rush is back, I want Aaron Donald because he's a disruptor. He's going to disrupt the run game. He's just going to show up all over. He's a 99 for a reason. They weren't high on my list just because I, in general, don't like the Rams. I have memories of them beating us in the Super Bowl when I was a kid. But he can make it happen, man.
So the last team of the division, and this, I'm not going to make you guys wait anymore. And Rev, I'm not going to make you wait. You are taking the Arizona Cardinals for the Madden 22 cycle. Before we even get into Vert's analytics, what's your feeling like? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you upset? Or what's going on?
I'm here for it, man. Kyler Murray. That's why I picked him. I don't know if he has abilities that you guys know if he does.
I do not. Verts?
I doubt it. Probably not.
I don't know if anybody does right now.
But that was the big basis of one of the reasons I picked him. I think I can do a lot. Like I initially like to run like a spread option type offense, so maybe, if he's got the right abilities, that's what we're going to try to do.
Well, and they are, and I'll let Verts get into his analytics. Go ahead, Verts. Go over the analytics. What do they say about these Cardinals?
Well, my astute observations say him and Yan will be fighting by the end of the year with that read option attack, because I think that's enough to piss a lot of people off. But that aside, the actual analytics are saying they're the 23rd overall team, and here's why. Right, so Youth Power Index, it's a little bit of an older team, 25th there, 10th in adjusted quarterback. Kyler Murray, very good quarterback, weapon, 17th. And then offensive athleticism is 32. And I want to go ahead and caveat this out for you. So we use AJ Green here because he's so much better in overall, right? A lot of people say, Andy Isabella, he's so fast, we're going to use him instead of AJ Green. Hold up. Just listen for a second. The changes made in Madden 22, the deep ball is going to become the meta, but the jump ball is going to be where it's at. And the short receivers are going to easily get picked off, whereas the taller, more agile jumping receivers are going to be able to catch balls where the defender looks like they don't even animate. That's part of the game this year. So don't just disconnect or discount those big, maybe slower receivers this year. Moving on, the pass rush right now, second overall, if Chandler Jones stays. Now, if Chandler Jones leaves, you could have a big issue there because that pass rush drops significantly with his loss. Run D 27th. On the back end, you're looking at a coverage of 15th, D athleticism 13th. Now, there's some nice pieces there. You've got Simmons. You've got some other pieces there on the back end. But, this is a team that I think a lot of people had a lot higher than what I have at 23, and I could see it. But I think that's more of a feel for how the game's been played versus where they're going in the future.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the screen right now, you've got obviously DeAndre Hopkins at 98, which is he is just he's going to have abilities. Then again, you just mentioned it. What's going to happen with Chandler Jones? Or is he going to get released? Trade? I mean, obviously probably traded. So if you do trade him, at least you get some draft capital back. But if they keep him, you've got Chandler Jones on one side, and then you got J.J. Watt on the other side. So I feel like this is a damn good team. And then you got Budda Baker. The guy famously chased down by DK Metcalf, but I feel like they have a really good, really solid roster, and then you look at their wide receivers, Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, AJ Green. If you have a team that you can run the spread option, it's this team. I feel like with Rev, the way that he can play, and he can kind of develop his offense the way he wants. This is going to be, I thought it would be a fun team to assign him because I feel like he could do a lot with that. That was kind of my thinking. So
we'll see. I've never been him. I had him probably a little higher on my list than I should have, but this should be a fun division. I hope y'all like staying at home because I'm going to the playoffs. Well,
I hope you're not disappointed because I saw him on there and I'm like, man, this would be a cool team for him. They have a good roster. They got some cool uniforms. I just felt like they were going to be a team that I don't know. I just thought they'd be kind of fun to play with. So, but
yeah, we'll have some fun.
What's that?
We'll have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a fun division, man. You got some cool guys in that division. So, let's go to the last division. That is the NFC South. And we have the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Buccaneers. If your name has not been called, you probably know you're somewhere ready to take one of these teams over. So let's go ahead and talk about the Falcons. This is no shocker. Basically he had him last year. It's Phil 03. Again, one of the OGs from when I created this league. He's been faithful to us. He's been a great guy to get more people in here. He's recruited. He was on staff for a bit. He was doing schedule. There was no brainer. This is number one team, his favorite team. So that's who we're going with. But Forverts, you don't like the Falcons, do you? Or at least the numbers. They don't like them at all, do they?
The numbers do not like the Falcons at all. They're sitting in that bottom tier with the line, 78.6, just 0.4 over the line. So 28th in cap. They've still got some cap issues. Now they are 6th in draft capital, so they can make some changes there. 28th in youth power index. They're a little bit older. Matt Ryan's still a quality quarterback. 10th in offensive athleticism, 29th in O-line. 31st in run D, 27th in coverage. They've got some issues on the defense they're going to have to figure out. But all that said, Phil loves his team. And there's something to be said for loving the team you're taking, and hopefully he can do a lot with them. But that team's got a lot to do.
They do. H. Will, what do you think? I know you've played against Phil a couple times.
Yeah, so again, poor person, not what I was trying to say about your analytics. It's about loving your team, and Phil definitely knows how to use them. Even with an aging Matt Ryan, like, he knows how to use these guys minus Julio. And the few pieces they do have on defense, knows how to use them too. I think it's about knowing the team you're using, and Phil definitely has the Falcons.
Yeah, I think that if anybody can rebuild him, it's Phil. I know he traded for he actually traded for Hurts, I believe, and got rid of Ryan, got out of that contract, and actually
he put up $450 on me.
What's that?
Yeah, and he put up $450 with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. So he knows how to run this offense. So maybe he'll be hitting Coherent up for that. I don't know, especially if they trade for Deshaun. All right, let's go into the Panthers, and I think this guy's going to be pretty happy. He just posted in our Discord a picture of a Panther gif, and that's Flair. That's his number one team. That's his favorite team. Not a lot of people had them high on their list, which was kind of shocking to me. I know that maybe they're not the sexiest team, but you got CMC. You've got some fast weapons. I mean, yeah, you're not crazy about them trading for Darnold, but their defense, you've got some pieces there. Derek Brown, J.C. Horn. I like this team. Forverts, does your analytics like them?
They're a solid team. I think I had them somewhere in like the 6 or 8 range for me, but 19th in the analytics, and let's talk about why, right? The draft capital, 27th. They did give up a second-round pick for Sam Darnold, which probably from a Madden perspective wasn't the best move. 26th in adjusted quarterback rating for Sam Darnold. That's where things get bad. Optimal rush is 14th, right? So you got Barnes and Derek Brown. They've got a good combo there, something that you'll keep an eye on. 28th in coverage, not so great, but let's talk about what they do great, right? So 7th in offensive athleticism. Christian McCaffrey, he's got it, right? He's got it. You've got DJ Moore, you got Robbie Anderson. Like, if you want speed, if you want just a track meet, this is the team for you. And that's where I think Flair is going with it, right? It's going to be a track meet for him. And I love it. I love it for him because, again, this is his favorite team. And we just talked about with Phil, right? You've got 2 guys so far in this division that love their teams, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Reb, what do you think about the Panthers?
They were on my list, I think, the first time. They weren't the second. They had plenty of speed. I think it'll kind of depend on who's the rest of the division to kind of dictate their success. You know, Tampa Bay's the favorites, but it just really depends on who's going to be there.
Yeah, I think so too. So we go to the Saints, and it's kind of shocking that, you know, again, not a lot of people put them on the list. Incarnate One, he is going to be taking the Saints. And it's funny because he was the last guy on the list, just joined. I asked him if he still wanted in, and it's his favorite team. His number one team he put on there. So he knew how to play the game, and he got his favorite team. So we are 3 for 3 on people getting their favorite teams. I mean, it's pretty amazing here. So what does your analytics say? And I think I know where this is going to go about the Saints and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, so Jameis checks in as the 29th rated adjusted quarterback. Not a great situation. 31st in cap, also not great situation. But you have some good situations, right? 4th in offensive line, 9th in run D, 12th in optimal rush, 10th in defensive athleticism. They got a lot to like on the defense. And even on the offense, right, you have Mike Thomas, you have Alvin Kamara, but then things get a little bit not as great there. So some things to figure out for them, but the youth power indexes, they're 12 overall, so they're going to get better as they go. you got to figure out the quarterback position. But overall, you're feeling pretty good about the Saints team. I actually think I had them pretty high on my rankings.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they have a decent secondary. Like I think somebody pointed out in the chat, but I don't think quarterback is hard to fill. I mean, you may have to use Winston for a year, but then you can free up some of that cap. And I love Kamara, man. That's like having a fifth receiver out there. Great team. H. Will, what do you think? Were the Saints anywhere on your list?
Honestly, I can't remember, but yeah, no. But yeah, if you love your team like everyone in this division has, I think this is going to be fun. I don't know much about Incarnate, but if he likes the Saints, I'm interested to see how he builds this team up.
Yeah, so he's a huge Saints fan. So I feel like we're missing somebody. Are we missing somebody? There's somebody that just hasn't been announced yet, and I don't know who it is.
Think so.
I have no idea. I have no idea who it is. Could it be the one and only Forverse? We saved the best for last. And he is getting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another team that not many people put on their list. Forverse had him number 1, so it was pretty easy to be able to sign the Buccaneers to Forverse. Forverse, give me, obviously your thoughts on getting the Buccaneers, and tell me why. Obviously, I'm sure the analytics, go in your favor there.
So I look to the analytics to make my decisions, right? So when you think about the top tier. There's the Browns at 90.3, the Bucks checking at 89.5, and there's a 2-point fall off down to the 49ers. Where the Buccaneers are great, a lot of people think the Buccaneers are an old team. They're actually not in any way, shape, or form. They're actually second in the Youth Power Index, and that's really what I was looking for. Is I want a really young team to build around. 3rd in weapons, 8th in O-line, 5th in optimal rush, number 1 in run defense, 9th in defensive athleticism. They've got some older guys that I really want to pull in and use as some trade candidates to build some other parts of the team. Tom Brady will be good for a year. I wanted a team that had a old quarterback or no quarterback to try to do a quarterback, because that's really what I wanted. I was asking if they had the tallest wide receivers. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't look at height. That would be funny to look at. I do know Mike Evans is a beast downfield in next gen. Godwin is as well. So that deep ball is going to be a lot of play action shots. And then I got some running backs, right? Ronald Jones and you have Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, even Giovanni Bernard. So you've got a stable of running backs you can use to get through there. So love this team. Was really excited to get them here. And can't complain. Good night.
Now, let me ask you this, and this is I guess, the biggest question that I have is, are you going to roll after Brady retires? What about the guy they drafted out of Florida, Trask?
Not a shot. Not a shot. But you know what? We want to play the draft. The new scouting, that's something I'm really looking forward to, and we'll find a quarterback of the future there.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Rev, I know you know Forverse really well. What do you think about this? Is this shocking that this is who he wanted, or?
No, he's a man of data, and they were good. I looked at them really heavy myself. I think they were maybe 3rd on my list. It's a good match for him, and I like the fact you get to play with Tom Brady at least for a year, maybe 2. Because having an elite quarterback's huge.
Absolutely.
Tom Brady is on the block. Tom Brady is on the block. Just putting that out right now.
Wow.
Ooh, he's gonna go back to some pass rush probably. That's what he is known for. That. True.
Yeah, you traded. You're the famous guy that traded Mahomes.
Once upon a time.
I think you traded him for Garrett and some picks or something. But yeah.
Yeah, the pass rush didn't work. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, the without abilities, man. It's us now having abilities on. I'm sure that took people's decisions to the next level here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We had a great turnout. It seemed like we were averaging over 20 viewers the entire time. I want to put this last graphic up, and this is going to tell us. I'm going to post this in our Discord chat so everybody knows who they are. That way, it'll be easy to look down the list. Oh, yeah, I wasn't here at the draft. I guess I get this team. But basically, I want to thank Al for putting this together. This is a really cool
That's
nice
clean.
little
That's good.
graphic.
Yeah, this is great.
Any parting words from you guys? Any surprises, disappointments, or anything? Or Ref?
Don't fuck up, Maserati. Don't fuck up. I'm watching you.
He's on your heels,
salty.
man.
It's okay. Rev's salty.
I'm not salty. I got to learn a little bit more about him. I've actually been sitting here reading about him. The more we go on, and the more I read, the more I like. There's so much speed there, and it's kind of ironic. Like I play the cards week 1, so like, and the Titans do in real life, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, and I figure, again, I looked at the team and I'm like, man, this is just, you had them, I think. I can't remember exactly.
They were high,
but
like
they were
5th or 6th. They were high.
Yeah, they were 5th or 6th. But I had three lists from you, so I think I deleted the first 2 and went with the last one. So
right now, depth wise, NFC much better. AFC obviously it's J-Rod, but NFC just flat out better conference.
Oh come on, are you serious, Timmis? We
Not
got
even close.
Maserati,
Jiggy, Rod, and Timmis.
Not even close. Not even close.
I think
if I had to put that group together right now, I would say, and I can't get them all perfect, but J-Rod, Maserati, Alpha, Timmis, we'll say Al, and then you get 2 more.
Then you're guessing, right? Now look at that NFC.
Yeah, but some guys we haven't seen play yet.
NFC is just stacked.
I would say they're more. I would say they're more like depth wise. Yes, probably.
But you never know, too. It's going to be a new Madden. People, you gotta get in the lab when it comes out, man.
Exactly. Now everybody gets to practice now. So I want to say thank you to everybody. I want to thank you, Forverts, for going over, bringing on your analytics. That was awesome. I want to thank Rev and H. Will for, commentating with us and just having fun with us on a Friday night. I want to thank everybody, all the owners. We are going to have a 32-man tournament once Madden comes out, because we do not start until we get this new scouting system. So we do not want to start right away. So we want to do something, to kind of fill the time. So we will have a 32-man tournament. Be on the lookout for that. I probably will be buying the winner a Xbox game. So just keep that in mind. So J-Rod, you're going to have to tell me what game you want. So.
No, coming from the AFC.
I was waiting for somebody else to step up, but yeah. Anyway,
J-Rod. Okay, I see how it is. You guys are like the SEC. You just go, Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, seemed to work out for them.
3-time champ.
Yep. So, but anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in and thanks for joining the show. And just keep on the lookout for us. If this is your first time checking out Apex, make sure you check us out on Twitter. Apex Madden League, and then also the YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. We put out content. We're going to put out a lot of content this year. I know that I've been hit up by 4 or 5 people that want to do a show or want to be a part of the podcast. So I feel like this is the year that we may break out of that shell and start competing with some of the bigger leagues. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Any parting words before we go?
Do what you love. You do what you love, then the rest of that media will take care of itself.
That's right. All right. Well, for Apex, I am the commish, the Grand Poobah, the dictator, as some people like to call me, and we are out of here. See ya.